New York Times now fighting back over the Trump campaign's decision to sue for libel over an op-ed, with the paper saying that the Trump campaign has turned to the courts to try to punish an opinion writer for having an opinion they find unacceptable. Fortunately, the law protects the right of Americans to express their judgments and conclusions, especially about events of public importance. Joining me now is Howard Kurtz, Fox News media analyst and host of Media Buzz. Howie, what is the Trump campaign's complaint here?
The Trump campaign's complaint is that even though it's an op-ed, there are facts in there about Russia that they say are 100% false and untrue. Now, the campaign's chance of winning this suit are very slim because the Constitution protects opinion. This op-ed by former Times executive editor Max Frankel says that in his view, there was a deal in 2016 getting help against Hillary Clinton in exchange for a pro-Russian foreign policy. Now, maybe that's wrong. The Mueller report found no active cooperation, but the campaign would have to prove malice and open itself up, Dana, to depositions and discovery, relitigating the whole Russia controversy.
Right. Sometimes it's just about the publicity about lawsuits themselves. Take a look at what the president said last night.
When they get the opinion totally wrong, as the New York Times did, and frankly, they've got a lot wrong over the last number of years. So we'll see how let that work its way through the courts. No, if you read it, you'll see it's beyond an opinion. That's not an opinion. That's something much more than an opinion. They did a bad thing, and there'll be more coming. There'll be more coming.
As you heard that, he said there'll be more coming.
That's the tell. The president likes running against the press. There may be more lawsuits as a tactic. And this feels to me like a brushback pitch against the press in general. And I think it feels more about 2020 than about winning a courtroom battle.
I think that's very sound, as always. I also wanted to ask you about this. So the clip we just showed you last night was not about lawsuits in the New York Times. That was the president going to the White House briefing room, which they don't use very much anymore. But he went there with his CDC team and with Vice President Pence to talk about the coronavirus and America's preparedness for it, trying to be very transparent. And I wondered what you thought about, all of these reporters getting to ask the leader of the free world all these questions about coronavirus compared to what we've seen in China, which is very little transparency, propaganda, and covering things up, which has made the problem worse.
It's a really stark contrast. It's great that he did it, but I have to say I was quite taken aback. Seconds after the press conference was over, you had liberal commentators and some anchors saying, well, the president can't really lead on this because he has no credibility. He's lied about this and that. Remember the Sharpie-Gate hurricane map? The papers have stories saying that as well. At the same time, as you know, the president has said that CNN and MSNBC are hyping the coronavirus to hurt him. He responded to Nancy Pelosi's criticism by saying she's trying to start a panic. So at a time when the country should be coming together and the stock market, as you just noted, is continuing to plummet, it feels like this political sniping on all sides, including on the part of the press.
However, in that briefing room last night, having watched it, I thought the press, at least the press in the room, seemed pretty responsible yesterday.
Yeah, and
it's legitimate.
It's legitimate to ask about the fact that the president seems more optimistic than his own federal health officials. And, of course, he had a chance to answer that. When there's a really big story and a real crisis, the press tends to get a little bit more serious. We're not screwing around here. People's lives are at stake. But at the same time, as soon as it was over, you saw a lot of the partisanship, particularly on cable news.
Yeah, but they're in that room. I thought that they're just doing their jobs, and they were very happy to have him. They asked him, please come back soon. All right, Howie Kurtz, thank you for coming back.